I won't deny it, I'm a Southsider. You don't wanna mess with me. Got the police rushing at me. But I'm calm cause I'm smoking that CBD. Said she won't deny it, she's a Northsider. You don't wanna mess with her. Got the police rushing at her. But they can't do nothing to a top producer. Said he won't deny it, he's a West Sider. You don't wanna mess with him. Got the police rushing at him. And he doesn't really care. Because they can't do nothing to the YPN chair. Ooh.
Let's go.
Take one and we're done. Hello, everyone out there. I'm Brian Tierney. This is the Blessed Life University podcast, the Blue Podcast for short. With me today are Amy Duong Kim. She is a top producing realtor in the Chicagoland area with Compass Real Estate. Also with Compass Real Estate is my man Devon Chandler. He is the current 2022 chair for the Chicago Association of Realtors Young Professional Network. An incredible network it is too. And the whole idea behind this is like, I'm blessed. I'm surrounded by good people in my life, and I want to thank you guys for coming here to join me on a Sunday. It's the Lord's Day, whatever. It's a family day. We're always grinding. We're always busy, and I know you guys are busy people as professionals. But thank you very much for being here. How you guys doing?
Oh,
Good,
it's our
good.
pleasure.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is fantastic.
What an intro.
I know.
Like, man.
Multi-talented.
Yeah, love it. But thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
No doubt about it. I do my best. I try to keep it original, keep it unique, try to pick out something about that person to add into the rhyme. And it's performance anxiety, too, because, like, when most people do this, they'll probably do a couple of takes to get it right, and, like, what do you like about this or that? But I always try to do my stuff, like, one take just to keep things flowing along, you know, and just be confident and just go with it, you know.
Love it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, it's great.
Enjoy it. So, did you guys bring a topic or two you want to discuss? Otherwise, I'll just kind of hit, you know.
I
some
got a
bullet
couple,
points.
but also I'm curious to know.
Yeah,
what
what would you like to know?
Well, like I said, I started doing a little bit of research before you guys got here, and I thought, you know, that this would be more of a getting to know you guys podcast. So, you know, I just started to look through your profiles and just see the things about you, you know. I mentioned to Amy before you got here, Devon, that, you know, what a person puts forward and what they capture with the pictures that they have in those moments they capture really say a lot about them. And the two things I saw with Amy's pictures was, you know, she's a family woman, and she cares deeply about her family, and probably her children and her husband are probably some of her greatest sources of happiness, and she seems to really invest a lot of time in that, despite the fact that she's a top producing realtor and has her stuff together. And so I noticed that.
So it seems.
I mean, it seems
Stuff
to
together.
me, you know what I mean? And I remember when I saw you on the panel, because the first panel that you guys did for the Young Professionals Breakfast was the top producer panel, and I was like, you seem so funny and quirky and nice and intelligent and smart, and I was like, she would be a really cool person to have a conversation with and just laugh with and learn about. And then with Devon, I saw he has a small fur family, so it's him and his dog. Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a boy, Tucker.
Tucker. Okay. Any other pets or?
Just
anything?
us two. Just us two.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you got, a condo or? What?
Yeah, just a condo in the West Loop. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was looking at the pictures and I was like, it was what appeared to be some pretty nice views in the background. So I'm like, it seems like a nice place wherever it's at over there.
Yeah, it's good. It's being a dog dad's been interesting. I like to say it's calmed me down a lot.
Did you grow up with pets?
Yes and no. Like, not so much like the sense of, like, you know, how people have pets in the city. It was a lot different
Oh,
for
I
us.
see. Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's helped me not have, you know, there's not a lot of 4 a.m. nights anymore. It's like, okay, go home.
Oh, I have to get home, walk the dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yes.
That's good, yeah,
Yeah.
because, I mean, I'm 37 years old, and those late nights, like, they happen once in a while. You know, you have, like, the car awards, and then there's an after party or something like that. It's like, but God, they hurt the next day.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't get to recharge that battery right, and there's all sorts of
I
things
was about
wrong.
to fall asleep at like 10 p.m. last time.
Last night.
Yeah. Well, you know, I have 3 small kids. Yeah, I just, you know, yeah, it's just different now. So.
Yeah, your kids seem very young, so you guys just started recently.
Well, they're 9, 7, and 2. So, yeah, I mean, they're still young.
Yeah.
I still have to wake up at 6 in the morning, and I'm not a morning person.
Me
So,
neither.
and I can't really function if I don't have at least like 6 hours to 7 hours of sleep. So, and I love to unwind a little bit at night to just like veg and watch TV, like stupid shows and stuff like that. So, no matter what time it is. So, I don't really get to go to sleep until like midnight. So, but yeah, it's a little like uneventful in our household.
Yeah. So here's what
But Howard
happened.
and I still have fun. Like, we love to go to Cubs games, Bulls games, things like that, concerts, that kind of stuff. It's just not like all night ragers like they used to be.
Oh yeah, I hear you 100%.
Well, wait, I want to hear more about how they used to be. Old Amy, what's yeah? Give it.
The 4 a.m.
Well, she went to U of I Champaign, which I'm
Yeah.
Okay. I've had some good times at U of I.
I have too, but holy shit, I think some of the drunkest I've ever been when I was there visiting.
Oh,
her.
easy. Easy. It's a party college.
Yes.
Alcohol is a really powerful drug that they don't really warn the youth about. Like, when these people, at U of I, you'd be drinking. I was down there drinking at 18, 19 years old,
Oh, yeah.
They'd let you into the local bars and everybody would just drink and
Yeah.
they looked the other way. And I don't know if that's speaks more to the culture there. It's like anywhere outside the city, a couple of hours outside the city, you start hearing southern accents and stuff like that. It's different, But also, yeah, like you don't realize how powerful that stuff is. And, before you know it, you're like, oh, wow, this is what alcohol can do to you and how sick it can make you. Because it's like... It's like a temptress. It's almost like a snake. It's like that has two heads or something. One makes you feel really good, and the other one is just venomous. And the next day you feel like complete shit.
Yeah.
That's when you start feeling the poisons,
Yeah.
those toxins.
Well,
that
I'm
get in your body.
41, so, like, recovering from hangovers is not the same when I was 21.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, how much can you, like, I had it was great in the 20s and 30s, but that's like 2 decades of hanging out and drinking. I don't need to do more of that, So,
Yeah,
that's all.
no doubt about it.
I am 32, and I'm still in those days.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
You gotta live the most of your life, man.
Yeah. It's been fun. It's been different from, like we reminisce on the college days. So I was at a bachelor party yesterday, and obviously you go down memory lane talking about your college stories, and I played college basketball, so I got stories with old teammates, and we were talking about what was better, like college or now. And people assume with me that it was college because I had a lot of fun. But I would argue that now is more fun because now
You have money.
We're actually making money. Exactly.
That's what I liked
100
after college.
100% agree with you. Exactly. So, but I wouldn't change anything.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure.
It was just a chapter in your life. So,
Yep.
for sure.
For sure, yeah. I'm still young at heart. I try
Oh,
to be.
yeah. I don't try. I mean, just things in moderation. That's all. So,
For sure. I
Yep.
mean, I still try to, go to a place where there's dancing or whatever, and like sometimes that dancing is like the only exercise I got in a few days, or it's like the best exercise I've gotten. Like
so you go clubbing still?
once in a while. Like,
Wow.
Not a lot. Like one of my guests.
Do you go? You don't go clubbing, do you?
Like not like clubbing in the sense of like.
You go downtown.
Let me stop. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Sometimes, like not like all the time, but I mean, I just go with where the night takes me. Sometimes.
Yeah,
Sometimes
okay.
it's at Tao. 3 in the morning. Sometimes it's to a dive bar. And,
Yeah. I would do it in Vegas. I don't know if I would do it here.
Yeah, it just depends.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm very much a yes man. Like I tend to say yes to a lot of things even before I even know what it really is. But it's a gift and a curse, to be honest. Like it's opened up so many doors, just being like let's go. Yes, sure. Yeah, cool, great. Yeah, let's go. But it's also tiring sometimes.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the top part for Devon is that he probably lives close to some of the best like clubs in
Restaurants
the
and
city
stuff
of
like
Chicago,
that.
Yeah.
right? Like if you're in the
Yeah.
West Loop, River North is like really close by, and like you said, Tao, and then like all those different little nightclubs over there. I used to go to a few different ones. My friend, his cousin owned a club. It originally was called Jilly's, and that's like friggin' Chris Farley and like different people, like celebrities would go through there. It was like a big
Is it like a
deal.
bar?
Yeah, it was Julie's Piano Bar, and then they switched it over to. It used to be right by Excalibur before they changed over to Tao. And I can't remember they called it The Joint. It was just called
Oh
The
yeah, I
Joint.
saw that sign before.
Yeah, and it was cool. It was real cool. Like in the one bar, it was like they had like a little dance floor, and it would get crowded in there. People would dance. And then on the other side, they had like live music. They'd have like a jazz band or like a friggin' blues band or just like a friggin', whatever, like old school Sinatra type stuff. Because he was like, it was kind of like a mafioso feel.
Okay.
But like, it was really cool. And sometimes I'd go there and then we'd like pregame before we hit sound bars.
Yeah, I kind of miss old Chicago, like where you'd go to like jazz bars and like places like that. Oh, you still do?
Yeah, of course. Love jazz bars.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I guess I just haven't been. I usually when we go out, we'll go to like a nice restaurant, like we just at Trivoli Tavern. Like I know it's so good.
Love Trivoli.
But it's like a nice dinner, and then
let's go to a jazz bar.
Okay, yeah, we'll go to a jazz bar. All three of us go to a jazz bar.
Yeah, because there's probably a lot of good ones in Chicago. You don't really know about them until you like seek them out or talk
Buddy
to somebody who
Guys.
goes.
Have you been
Yeah,
there?
Buddy Guys Legends.
I used to go to
Kingston.
Kingston Mines. Is that
Yes,
still around?
Still around. Yep.
Oh, cool.
I've been to neither of those, but I know how legendary they are.
Yeah.
I feel bad actually because
yeah, Kingston Mines. We went there all the time before.
We'll get it on the books.
Yeah, on the books.
sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I've never been, so I definitely need to get in there just because these are legendary places. You know what I mean? And like I don't want to miss out on that.
Yeah.
Some of these people like you got Buddy Guys Legends and all that, and like you mentioned Kingston Mines, like don't want to miss out on those opportunities. There's just so many good things here. That's one of the challenges of our business too, is like it's abundance of opportunity to.
Yeah, Chicago's a great
or
city.
whatever.
I just hope, like, with COVID, hopefully, dying down and things reopening and,
Yep.
kind of revives again. The only thing that I, will miss about COVID was that traffic was so easy.
Oh my god,
Yes. It was beautiful.
it was scary, kind of like when
I
I would drive
loved
down
it.
I-55 and there was only like 4 other cars within like a friggin' couple hundred yards of me. It was weird.
It was so much traffic last weekend. I hated it.
Yep.
It reminded me of like friggin' one of those like what was that movie like Patient Zero or whatever
Walking Dead.
or whatever.
I Am Legend.
Yeah, kind of. Like one of those is like, where is everybody?
eerie.
Like it was like, was there a nuclear war? Did friggin' like aliens just take over and eliminate everybody? I'm one of the last survivors. It was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, think about like the magnitude and the, just the sheer magnitude of the American economy. That machine that keeps rolling along, and then to see that like completely
Oh, yeah.
shut down for a while, very bizarre.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. And then this logistic nightmare that now exists with not just building homes, but renovating homes and just all these things, because you can't redo a kitchen if you can't get the cabinets
For like 6 months. Or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or you can't redo a kitchen if you can't find the workers. So because they've moved on to different types of work. So yeah, it's a very interesting situation we're in right now.
What do you think? You're the great Amy. You're crushing it. Like, you've been around for a minute. Like, where do you see like the market going over like the next 6 months to a year?
Oh, only we will still have this problem for a very long time. If you can't create inventory, like if you can't build, and you still have the same amount of buyers, if not more, the demand will still be high. Prices will continue to increase. You read about slowdown. If there is a slowdown, it would have to be the fact that unemployment is high, but there are so many jobs that are not filled, so unemployment won't be an issue for the next 2 years. Possibly interest rate, if interest rate increases, but I still don't think it would play a factor in people's lives. I think we've come to accustom to paying a lot of money for everything.
Yes.
Right? When you go to the grocery store, when you buy, the seltzer, like these limes are 3-4 times more expensive than they were 2 years ago. So everyone now has this mindset, oh, it's just inflation. Everything's more expensive. So this is just now the way of life. So I don't really think the interest rate's going to deter people, at least maybe to 7%.
Do you think it could go up that high before people really slow down?
They may not even slow down then, but yeah, at least 7%. I don't think it's going to get affected at 6%. There may be
I already saw somebody with a rate the other day of over 7%, but I don't know.
Really?
I don't know if it was like an ITIN loan or what. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Because if it's ITIN where they're not like a permanent resident green card holder,
it has
or
to be because the
citizen,
rate is like
then-
5% right now.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, I've been seeing those getting closer to 6 too. People around 5.5,
Five
5.75.
and a halves.
Yeah, and then if they're lucky, 4.7, like, or in the 4s, or they spend a lot of money to buy the rate down, which is what I plan on doing as well.
Yeah.
So I got lucky with this building. I refinanced and got an incredible interest rate. It was the best one I would have gotten because when I first bought this building, I took out an FHA 203K loan, and when you're getting the extra money to make repairs on the building, it's a higher interest rate. So it's above 5.1, and I got it down very low now. On my home that I'm in the middle of purchasing now, I'm gonna probably have to buy down my rate. I'd like to get it close to where it would have been had I purchased like a year earlier or something.
Well, if you could do a 15-year ARM, that could be a good option. Your mortgage payment's higher, but then it gets you into a lower interest rate. It's just a higher mortgage payment,
My
monthly.
cash flow is such right now that I don't know if I'd want the extra mortgage.
You need to put it in
because-
your business.
Well, yeah, I have the business here, and the tenants, and then the staff, and just insurance and all the overhead costs. It all adds up. But yes, I was thinking about it because I don't want to have to refinance or wait till we refinance, because who knows like when the rates will go back down again. I mean, for years they were historic lows. They're still relatively low historically speaking if you look back.
Yeah.
In the 80s, 10, 12%. I've heard sometimes even close to as high as 20%.
Yes.
Of course, property values were lower back then, so it wasn't like you were paying 10% on $300,000 back then. Like, I think when my dad bought my home, or like our family home in this area, I think he paid under $100,000. I think it was
easy.
something like $75,000.
Yeah.
And he paid it off like a hardworking immigrant, paid it off a 15-year mortgage off in like 7 years. And he's like,
It's
couldn't stand that
definitely
monthly
a
payment.
different situation for, first-time home buyers, for sure. So, it's just hard. But the great thing is that there are products out there that, you have to search for it, but can be helpful, that with maybe 100% financing. I mean, you can't change the rate, but maybe help with not having to bring so much to closing. So 3.5%, 5%, 100% even. So I'm doing a deal with someone who's doing the whole thing finance, and it's through NACA. I'm not really familiar with that. Probably have to Google it, but I never even heard of it. Yeah, it's a great program.
I think I might have heard of that one, because if I'm thinking the same one, it's not even that far from here. They have some kind of office in this area. It's like a community something.
Yeah, it's backed by Bank of America, so it's not like, some one-off thing. So
I have to Google it.
yeah,
for
you have
sure.
to Google it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Hopefully it remains really good, because like I was super scared when the pandemic first hit.
Oh, sure.
I was scared. It took out a payroll protection loan and all that, which that's a whole other headache in and of itself.
Well, what do you think about the market? What do you think you'll see happen?
You know what? I think that with interest rates, like you said, I think they got to get up to, I think like 8 before people would get deterred from buying. But like separate from interest rates, just my perspective on the market is, I think that like I've started seeing people who have kind of like gotten priced out of their original
So they reduced their.
pre-approval.
Okay.
So like for example, let's say they were pre-approved for $500K, 3-4 months ago. The rates are way different. So they can afford a lot less home now, and so
it's reduced their purchasing power.
yeah, exactly. So like that's kind of been an ongoing conversation and a battle recently with buyers, and so what I've been doing is basically having people kind of circle back to properties that have been on the market more than 90 days, and looking at properties that just require updates. So like new appliances, floors, paint, that sort of stuff.
Things that they can do over time.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've gotten some good deals recently. And these are with buyers who, like, are first-time home buyers who are like me, lazy in the sense of, I don't want to do thing when I move in. Move in ready. Like, I want it to be damn near new construction. And so now I'm having to get buyers to kind of change the way they look at, homes and how they think about the market. So it's been good.
That's cool. I never really thought. I focused on a lot of pocket listings.
Yeah.
So like focus, get on the private. Like I always set them on the private, and like of course look on Zillow and whatnot, but try to see if these privates will work because at least it's less competition.
For sure.
So, but yeah, stale listings have been on the market a little bit longer.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it too.
So we obviously are both at Compass, so it's not like a huge Compass plug, but I think the Compass coming soon. Like I've gotten a couple of deals with those that are just like essentially for people who are listening. Compass agents will list it with Compass first before it goes to the MLS, and so again, it's just kind of like trying to find that advantage for your client to get a property. It's tough. I've learned this. You probably have known it for a while, but like as you get up there in price point, there's literally just less homes, and so it's even more competitive. And so it's like you're running into the same agents with like certain agents have a ton of inventory, and so it's been nice to kind of get in good with some of those agents to like let you know ahead of time, like, hey, I got this coming up, or hey, this might be coming up soon. So it's got to be creative though.
Totally.
This is it's interesting because we had this conversation at a car meeting I was in, and we talked about how real estate's so sexy of an industry that combined with people losing their jobs, like ton of people are getting their license now.
So many people, so many new realtors.
Like literally once a week. Hey, I'm thinking about getting my license. Hey, I'm thinking about getting my license. Like, where do I start? And so I think the pendulum will swing back in terms of
for sure.
It'll weed out some people who are thinking that this is just an easy paycheck because on Selling Sunset they make it look so easy
or
and
$1 million
God, that stuff is hard to watch.
Yeah.
The Selling Sunset, that's one where it's like a bunch of young, beautiful Barbie dolls that they argue with each other. Isn't that what it is?
Yes.
I saw it at my cousin's house.
I was like, so people kept on asking me about Selling Sunset, like, is real estate like this? I'm like, I have no idea. I don't watch the show.
Right.
But so let me just watch the show. I could not get past, I
watched one episode.
Yeah, it's great. Like, it's entertaining to certain people.
It's like Paris Hilton meets real estate or something. To me, it seems like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of vibe I get, like.
People love it. It's just, if we work real estate, I don't really want to watch real estate on my downtime, so I watch $1 Million Listing because I just love Ryan Serhant and Frederick.
Yes.
I'll still watch that, but I won't watch any other. Like I won't watch HGTV or.
Well, Serhant's talented. Like he's talented. His like brain and the way he thinks about marketing is like. It's
genius.
Legit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't agree more. So like I watch him too.
And I love his discipline. Like I wish I can be disciplined like him. Yeah. But
See,
we're human.
Here I am. I'm like, I wish I can be disciplined like Amy.
No.
I meant to ask you guys, do you work in the same Compass office or no?
No, I'm at the Kinsey, but I work city and suburbs, so I'm mostly just home working. But you're in Wicker Park, right?
Yep. So mostly out of the Bucktown office, and then recently, like I usually post up at the Lincoln Park office because there's just more room to kind of spread out. So yeah.
And when you guys, for the non-realtors like myself, when you mentioned, the private listings or private market, do you have access to first of all, I guess just tell the listeners what that means, but also, is it only within your brokerage, or is there other little private things? I know there's a lot of Facebook groups and stuff like that.
So, yes and no. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I think it's fine. If not, I'll get in trouble and deal with the consequences.
I'll tell you if it's not fine. Okay. I'm a managing broker.
So I think we just launched like a thing to basically we'll pull in all PLN, so all private listings, but before it was just Compass, right?
Yes, correct.
Correct. There we go. Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that though. Like there's a private and a public. So
yes.
I feel like if you guys have access to it, it's not really that private though. It's almost like all the realtors know about this. The private one, it's like.
Well, it is an effort.
Yeah.
Yes. It's an effort to get on the private listing and it's very little information. Mm-hmm. So if 123 Main and in a live listing, you're gonna have a ton of pictures, the detailed listing sheet, but in the private, you literally don't even have to post a photo. It is just the description. So, and it doesn't even have to be a description. It could just be the address. And it's when you post, like if you see someone's sign out there, but you Google it, you can't find it, it's because you have to put your listing on the private to put the sign up. So some realtors do that, say coming soon.
And start getting offers before it's even public?
or interest, before it goes live.
Okay.
And then, so that's one reason why some realtors do it. A second reason is like a lot of my clients are still decluttering. Like all sellers, if they need to declutter, they need to touch up, they need to do all this stuff. But why waste this opportunity if they know they're going to sell it? And if someone is willing to give them their price, then they could take it. I mean, we're in a little bit different market now that maybe it wouldn't be 100% worthwhile to do a private as much as it was in the past, but I used to make everything private before.
So private is through the MLS. There's a private section that hasn't gone full live listing yet?
Yeah, it's now on the MLS, but it used to be mostly on TAN, Top Agent Network, and then within Compass, of course.
And then TAN, do you have to pay a fee to be part of that?
You do, yeah.
And you got to be a big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
I think it's top X%.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've been a top dog for so long. It's like, it's like you little people.
No.
She doesn't even think about how it was before she was a top dog or whatever.
Yep.
No, I do remember when I first started because it was like the real estate boom. That's kind of like how it is now.
Yep.
And there's so many realtors. And I didn't go into it as because it seemed like a sexy career. I just went in it because my family had done it before. So, but yeah, like there are so many new realtors. And really, I mean, they must think this is so incredibly harder than they initially thought.
Especially in this market.
Especially in this market. It's so much harder to be a new realtor in this market than it was like 5 years ago. Even 2 years ago.
Which is when I started. Was 5-ish years ago.
So it's good that you got that 5 years in,
And what do you think are the factors that exist now that are making it harder for these realtors? I mean, I think I know what they are too, but I'd like to hear from you guys.
There's no opportunity to get listings, I would say. Very few. I would say some maybe their network may not want to use them because they're new. They may not know how to negotiate in a multi-offer situation. That's why I think they may have a difficult time right now. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. So being the YPM board and just being around all these different boards and committees, it's certainly like it's less time to be mentored almost because the market's so fast and it's so quick and it's just like it's not normal. So it's not normal. So realtors who are seasoned are struggling in this market, so new agents are looking like, wait, what? I don't just open doors. I don't just post on Instagram, so it's just a lot more work and effort because we also do it to ourselves. We don't post the bad shit. We don't post, ooh, my client just lost 3 offers.
Yeah.
We don't post that.
Yeah.
I think we probably should, but the last part is expectation-wise, they get into it. Again, seeing Selling Sunset, seeing these shows and seeing realtors' Instagrams of us closing deals and going under contract and, doing cool podcasts like this, sipping, tequila, but they didn't see you working before we started, your laptop, or I'm sure.
I saw it. She was over here, making phone calls, about to submit an offer, I believe.
And so for me, it's just me and my puppy, and we talked about this a little bit off camera. I literally probably couldn't do it with 3 kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I struggle with just me and my puppy, and she's got 3 kids and a husband, and crushing it. So.
Well, yeah, and the amount of pictures you had was family time, where there's family stuff going on. It's I would love to see it in action because I know that it's not easy to have that work-life balance to still really spend time with your kids and have meaningful moments with them, but also crush the game as well.
How do you do it?
I think it's time management, I don't.
Superhero.
No. I don't surf the internet. I'm not on Facebook or Instagram. I am for work in the sense of, and I do want to see what's going on with my friends too, a little bit, as much as I can allow. But I just try to make every minute worth it. If it's with my kids, then it's with my kids. And when I'm working, then I'm working. And I'm going to work as fast as I can during the time that I'm working, So every day I make a list of what I need to get done that day, and I do the most important things first. And, if I don't make it through the list, then that's okay. I did at least the most important things. So, if you focus on that, I think that makes it. When I realized that, when I implemented that, it made my life a lot easier. Don't get me wrong. A lot of things fall through the cracks, especially in my house. Like laundry piles up. I don't know what I'm going to make for dinner that night. Or, I forgot to help my daughter with her homework. Things like that. So it's not perfect, but, you just do the best you can every day and not beat yourself up too much.
Love it.
We talked about that a bit before you got here, too, of just like the, for me, it's a trial and error. I'm a collection of my experiences, and I try to either win or learn, and it's a tough industry because I feel like in my position as a real estate attorney, you're defined by your failures more so than your successes sometimes. Like, people don't see you close this many deals per year, but, one bad thing happens, and, well, what have you done for me lately? You're only as good as your last closing. So it's a real challenge, and so what I have to try to do is, I know that at the core of my business, communication is key. It does so many things in terms of expectations or buying more time when you need it. Hey, I was honest. I had a guy, he just wanted to change title on his home. He wanted to do a quick claim, and I told him I got my ass kicked at the end of the week, man. Thursdays and Fridays are the busiest days of the week for the real estate attorneys. A lot of people are trying to close before the end of the week, get into the house for the weekend, whatever. And so for me, it's like a trial and error. I had a bit of a slow patch during the winter, so it was like January was the first time I felt like in 2 years where I had a little bit of breathing room, and I was still riding this wave of Christmas spirit, friggin', I was never a Scrooge, but I'm out there still saying, Merry Christmas, fucking guy across the street, how are you, I hope you're doing well, or whatever, you know what I mean, and I felt good. It started picking up end of February, and then going into March and April, I was right back at it. But I was exercising. I would get here early in the morning. I'm building like a gym in the basement, so like half of it is gonna be like Brian's Underground Lounge, where I have a friggin' place to take a phone call in private, or sit down there and be on my Wi-Fi on the laptop if I wanted to, and then exercise. And then like this last week, I didn't exercise really at all. I was in St. Louis with family last week and got a little exercise in, and then I did yoga Monday night. But all the rest of the days of the week, I really didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But before you guys got here today, I got some exercise in, and it felt like $1 million.
Yes.
It feels so good to like move your body and get that blood flowing. My point is I just have to adjust my schedule because sometimes it's so busy that I know like I won't be able to. It's like I can either.
And
do
I
this
bet you're gonna
really,
be more
really
productive.
well.
You're gonna be more productive because you worked out, or
It
you
helps.
didn't drink, or you got enough sleep. That's that's how I felt when I got stuff. When I did things for me and self-care, was I did a better job.
It usually pays dividends.
Yeah.
Do you know Kelly Parker?
Yeah.
Kelly Parker?
If I saw her, probably.
So she's a Compass agent. She runs a team, Chicago Home Collective. Literally one of my favorite people and one of my favorite realtors. We did the YPN podcast together, which is I just love her. But she talks a ton about a lot of things, but self-care and taking time. I think she said she took damn near a year off because she was just burned out. She's like us in the sense of she's a workaholic, and she works hard. And so we talked about, the hustle culture is kind of what we termed it. It's cool to work hard. It's glorified to ooh, I work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
That's not healthy.
No.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean? And so, but it's it's glorified. And we kind of were trying to figure out how to articulate it's awesome to work hard and crush it and put in extra time, but you also got to take a break. And we talked about the quality of agents, which I'm curious your thoughts on both of these. As a newer agent, when I first got in, I was I get a text at 10 p.m. I got to respond to it. I get a call at 9 p.m. I got to respond to it because that's what good agents do. And it's well, that shit's unhealthy.
No. Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think about quality of agents these days?
Well, to my clients, I say I really cannot function past 9 p.m. So if you send me a text, I will see it in the morning and I will respond. But before or after that, it's just not. I mean, I may see it. I may be up. I may see it, but I tend not to respond because I just don't want an expectation that they're going to get that again.
Yeah.
Also, but I always say it from the get-go that I'm not, I don't work well at night.
Have you always been like that, or
no? I would. So there was a year that all my business was international. Like all my clients were from Asia and China, to Singapore, Hong Kong, and because I was selling a ton of real estate in Chicago, but all the clients were international. So I was up in the middle of the night all the time. I'm like, this is
What's the time difference? Like
a 12-hour difference.
12 hours.
So I would have some meetings at midnight.
It's noon there, and you'd be on the phone at midnight or
Yeah,
something.
or
Oh my
video
God.
call even. Yeah, so after that year, and obviously we still sold a ton, and it was a great price point too, but it just wasn't healthy. And I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just gonna do it at my hours. This expectation of me working literally 24 hours is not healthy, so I'm not gonna do it anymore. So. This is after that. I think I was just like burnt out. I had like PTSD from that. So I was just like not gonna. Yeah, I wasn't. It just didn't work well.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I'm like, I'm gonna set this boundary. And now I think realtors are very afraid to set boundaries. They don't. When I say you may not always get me at a showing for listings or for buyers. I will make every attempt, but I'm only one person. So if as long as you're okay with that, then we can work together. And, I think my value is really at the negotiation and the process, not to make sure that you get into a home and I'm there with you. So if I give that expectation, I would say 90% of people are fine with that. Higher than that, to be honest with you.
Love
it.
Dropping gems on me.
Just creating boundaries.
Love it.
Because every other career creates boundaries, right? Every other career creates like you work not like no expectations of an email past 6 or 7, right? What other career is every day? No other career.
Yeah, this is something where people need to be a part of it, because we circled back to what we were talking about earlier, is like the influx of newer agents over the past several years, but now as well. And we'll backtrack to that even further, just to kind of, I want to just throw in some thoughts that I had, maybe some factors that are contributing to that as well. But we talked about the hustle of it, and I feel bad, like, guys, are we all really being real with each other when we glorify the hustle like that? Because we know that success is a blessing and a curse. Like, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. And it's like, is it all really all good if you have a nice car and you have a lot of money, but you left a trail of emotional wreckage with your family? Like, there's this guy, Naval Ravikant, and I initially saw him on the Rogan podcast a while ago. Really cool dude. He's like an angel investor and like a tech guy in Silicon Valley, and he's like, the goal should be to like get to the finish line with success without the stress. He says stress is the big killer, and you don't want to leave your family, like he said, in emotional wreckage or whatever. But unfortunately in this business, we kind of have to like pretend like, like I grind every day and it always feels good. It's like, no, man, like, like in my situation, I have a mom who's older than that now. I would love to spend more time with her. Like, her health's not the greatest, but I sacrifice a lot for my clients. I would like to spend more time with my wife, or just days of decompression where maybe I don't even do anything. Like, I suntan, I go for a bike ride, but not have to worry about the guilt of like, while I'm doing it. That's a tough part that I try to manage as a professional. The guilt of like, while I'm doing this, there's like 20 important things that need to get done. And like, when I went into this business, I didn't really know, like, I was the kind of like the newer realtor, would never shy away from picking up the phone or responding to a text message. I worked in a real estate law firm before I started my own law firm, and the guy there, who was like the patriarch of the family, was like, he'd hear that phone ring. He's like, somebody answer that. He's like, pick it up. When that phone rings, you pick it up. And it was like drilled into my head that like in this business, to get that success, you have to do it. And then I have another friend of mine who's coming to practice law with me, and he's like, just keep on taking it on until you like reach the point where you're too busy. But the problem is, like, I'm busier than I know what to do with right now. It's very hard to manage, because it's a battle of, if I communicate all day, then there's going to be a pile of actual work to get done. And then, if you're like, well, why isn't the work done? Because I was on the phone, at least I responded and we were talking. Or why didn't you respond and answer the phone? It's like, because I was doing this. It's like, it's this constant battle of trying to adjust and like work on the fly. I have a team of 2 full-time assistants, and we're trying to find a good third fit. We had somebody who was on trial and stuff here for a while. But it's this thing where I feel like we have to pretend sometimes we're happy about the hustle when we're really not, because how much of ourselves do we have to sacrifice? Like, when you start picking up the phone at 9 or 10 at night, or you respond to that message, that's a very slippery slope, because then you can get dragged into this long conversation. And I don't know about you guys, but the clients I have, they'll call with an initial question. This won't take very long, and each question is hit with another follow-up one.
Yeah.
What about this, or what if this, and how do I handle this? This is turning into a full-blown consultation. No wonder the divorce attorneys are charging $40 per email or whatever they're doing. You know what I mean? Time is money, honey.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
You should do schedule send. So when you are working at night, then every email gets sent to 8 a.m. So everyone thinks that you are working at 8 a.m.
What do you use for email?
Gmail, but everything will be there's a thing that you can set so you don't send it instantly. You send it you can schedule it to send it in the morning. Then your clients will, because everybody looks at the time. Oh my gosh, they sent it at 8 p.m. They must be working.
Yeah.
But if you send it at 8 a.m., even though you were working.
Gmail has a schedule option?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I haven't messed with that on Gmail. I use an app called Do It Later, which is it's like for text messages if you want it to be sent at like 9
Yeah,
a.m.
see,
or whatever.
exact same thing.
And then, or sometimes I'll make the draft, and it'll stay as a draft on my phone, and it's popping up right at the top, so I know when 9 o'clock hits, I'll
send it. No,
if
do
I
schedule
don't get
send.
distracted before
Yeah, exactly. Just do a schedule send, then it's out of your brain.
See, the only tough part for me is we use a legal software, and there are many like it, but the one I use is Smokeball, and it tends to be very good for like real estate attorneys. It's integrated with my Outlook, and does Outlook have?
I don't know. Use Gmail.
I think we used to have Outlook. I'm pretty sure it does. It'd be crazy if it did.
It should, right?
Yeah.
Because that one, there's a plugin with the program that it saves all the emails I sent for that file within the file. So it's always nice to keep track of. I know it's been sent, or I know it's there.
Yeah.
I have a record of it.
But this is what you should do. This has helped me. Maybe this will help you too. Give it at least a try for 7 days. Okay. Anything that's on your mind, put it in your notes, and then forget about it. So when you actually get to a computer, then you do the what's on your list.
So use the time efficiently, so you're not thinking about it the whole time.
Exactly.
Or partially done when you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like when I'm hanging out with my kids and I think about something, because of course I think about things and think about work.
It pops in your head.
It pops in my head. I'm like, and then maybe I used to like hurry up and go to the computer and do it, or hurry up and try to do it like on my phone. I would just make a note of it in my phone, and then sometimes I don't even understand my phone because I have like one-word notes and I don't remember what that is. So I'm trying to do a better job.
Right?
I'm trying to do a better job of making better notes.
Sarah, why was I going to?
Yeah, exactly.
Shit.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, I know it was important.
Exactly.
Why did I get this bill? You didn't tell me about this. I meant to. I put your name on the
Exactly.
list.
But if you made detailed notes, let me clarify detailed notes because I have to work on that. Detailed notes so that you could remember what you have to do, then it won't be in your mind. It really works.
I've been pretty good at that. I have a notebook that I use. I have one that I leave here at the office, which I haven't even left. The traveling one that I bring home with me is usually the one I use, but it's kind of like my things to do list.
Yeah.
And one thing I started doing was sometimes I don't feel like the satisfaction of crossing it off. Sometimes I'll have to put like a check mark next to them so I know how many times I've been in that tennis match. Like I serve the ball this way, I'm waiting for it to come back at me. I serve it back because a lot of the things I do is a process. Like once I do one thing, then I have to like send a text message or a follow-up email or make this document and then have them sign it and then turn it back. Yeah, it's this broken down process of how it all gets done. So I'm like, if I cross it off there completely, I feel like I'll overlook it.
Yeah.
So a lot of lately I've been doing checks or whatever. I try to keep dates.
Well, you have a much more detailed oriented job, whereas, for us, if we make mistakes, it gets all fixed through attorneys.
Either through a large headache on our side or some very disappointed clients.
Forgot to check this person's
Yes.
We'll let the attorneys take care of it.
Attorney review will take care of that. Yeah. Who? Not even who, but like who? Like what are like your favorite realtors that you work with? Like what do they do that like you just absolutely fucking love?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't think they'd mind me representing for them. Or
you don't have to say their name. But what do you just like?
But,
what do you like that they do?
There's a top producing team that I work with, and great people. They're friends of mine, and they're like, "Are you top 1% in Chicago?"
Of course she is.
Okay, just asking. I missed the car words. I was where the hell was I? I was out of town. Or no, it was my wife and I's 7-year anniversary of being together, just dating, not married.
Yeah.
But so I wasn't able to make it that night.
I was
go
at
back to my
Disney,
wife.
so
So there you go. But
Yeah.
somebody probably called your name out when you weren't there or whatever. She'll
Yeah.
get
They
that
definitely
award
did.
later.
yeah, they
Yep.
did.
But what they do is, and they have been doing it, they were kind of talking about stopping. Like, guys, I've been coming to your morning meetings like once a month for a year, but they do them every day. And they bring in their team, and they have their, they have a large support staff, and it'll be, 14, 15, 16, sometimes 20 realtors will be there at a meeting, and they're not all on the team, but they're part of the office. Mm-hmm. And, like, the team leader, who it's his team, he goes through scenarios. Well, first of all, they look at numbers, and then they talk about scenarios and like role playing, and then they just do little like leadership things, and he teaches them about like saving your money and investing and growing. And I'm like, do a lot of brokerages do this for their team? Because like you have these young realtors here and they make good money, and he's like telling them like set up a Roth IRA account like this, and here's some funds that have been doing well, or here's some stocks that you might want to take a look at, and thinking outside of real estate in terms of diversifying. If you do a flip here or there, you have a buy and hold, and you have that stream of income, great. And then also stocks and different things, and teaching them about investing.
That's
and then
cool.
teaching them about leadership principles and good habits. Like he actually gave me this book. So this is Leadership Promises for Every Day by John C. Maxwell. And they would read the daily passage kind of together and just internalize those principles that can help you be a better leader, or better as a leader of yourself in your own business. And I must admit I'm behind. I'm probably my bookmark is at March 28th, so I have a lot of passages to catch up on.
Yeah.
But that's super helpful. That's the team, like that family oriented atmosphere. Like it's a different thing to be like successful and not have anything to show for it at the end of the day, but having that blueprint in place that they're giving them about like bettering yourself and saving for your family, because a lot of these realtors,
because
they make the money,
nobody
they pay taxes,
tells
and they
you
don't have
that.
anything left at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think so. I just started a team in November, and we're 6 deep as of this upcoming tomorrow,
you.
Monday.
Boy, you built it up quick, huh?
Built it up quick. It kind of happened. Like I expected it to be a little bit of a slower burn, but like not to be too confident. But I think that the reason that I'm getting like a really, really good response is like I'm giving a ton of support. Like so similar to what they're doing. Like we meet every Monday, like most teams do. Just like a regular team meeting. We do something similar with leadership. Tuesdays, we do this thing called real estate therapy, which is like, 30-minute like vent / rabbit hole session of like your annoying clients, like your bad deals, or like something like you're struggling with. Wednesdays we do a thing called HCH University. Like so, my team's Hello Chicago Homes. So it's like a university of where like we'll talk about how to literally just write an offer, like write a winning offer in a competitive market, or we'll like go through how to write handwritten notes or whatever the heck it is. But something that's going to be like legit learning. And then Friday, like a team huddle, which is just like a quick little like, hey, what are you up to this weekend? Any open houses?
That's awesome.
And so like super nervous about starting a team, but I think that, like I said, like the support aspect of it, like I've been on 2 different teams before this, and like I thought that just legit putting your money where your mouth is and giving support was just a good way to scale up and build a team with like good people and good agents. And so far it's kind of, as I knock on wood, it's kind of paying off. So I'm gonna take a picture of that book though before I leave.
Yeah, me too.
It's great.
For sure.
It's kind of connected to the Bible, and like John C. Maxwell actually acts as an interpreter for a little bit, because like when the burning bush is speaking and blah blah blah, I'm like, I don't know how that's really going to relate to my life, but it's like he gives you like what's the takeaway in there, and it's great. I mean, it really helped me with like constructive criticism for my team, because and like just training. Like the one day he just talks about, he's like, here's like a simple formula for training in many businesses. They watch you do it first, then you watch them do it, and then they do it on their own. And it's just like these little mental frameworks to think about to like really keep you systematic and confident in your ability. But definitely, you can probably get it on Amazon for a few dollars, but it's a little Bible for just living your life well and leading and being a leader to yourself as well. Well, yeah, no, it sounds like what you're doing is pretty cool.
Yeah,
like,
it's awesome.
It's
It's
very
amazing.
similar to what I was talking about, but each day you have a different purpose of that, and it doesn't even take that much time.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Mondays
maybe
is an hour,
some days,
and then everything
depending,
else is 30 minutes. Mondays in person, because I do think there's like something to be said about like legit human connection. Like I think the pandemic obviously like made us way more virtual world, which is a gift and a curse. But like I think in person also is like impactful. You can like feel the energy from a person, good or bad.
Yeah.
You know, if they're having like a shitty day or like a shitty weekend or whatever. But check in with me in like, you know, a year and
Oh, you'll be
ask me how
killing
it's
it.
going.
Come back and
Yeah,
we'll
you'll be
talk
killing
about it then,
it.
and we'll see. Like seriously, definitely come back some other time because we can talk about where the interest rates are at, what that's doing to the demand, like we talked about today, and then see how your team is developed in that time. My guess would be, I mean, you seem like a very successful-minded person, very professional. Like I guess it would be it'll grow a lot, assuming the market doesn't tank or something, which it should.
Well, honestly, even if it does tank, I mean, real estate still exists and real estate still happens. And that's when I became a top producer, was when the market crashed in 2008. Half
Crazy.
the realtors left. And so it was less competition. And, you know, I just grinded and I just worked. And I didn't, you know, think about that the market was bad. It was more sad than anything because, you know, when people called, you were helping them through a financial situation that they couldn't afford their house, they were getting a divorce, possibly they lost their job, you know, whatever it was. So if anything, I thought I was more helpful than in any time of my career because I was helping them out of a situation they didn't want to be in anymore. So yeah, it's like kind of crazy, but when you're talking about weeding out, or you know, unfortunately, maybe some newer realtors won't be able to handle it because it's just the market's too crazy. It's just a different crazy. So
did you? I'm just so curious about that, like time in real estate. Obviously, I wasn't doing real estate, obviously, but like how like crazy was it?
It was bad.
yeah.
And I was in school, so you speak your piece, and then I'll tell you what I witnessed as a law student working in mortgage foreclosure division of the courthouse. Holy shit!
It was just a lot of short sales, lots of foreclosures, lots of paperwork.
Did it happen quick, or was it like a slower burn? Just like
slow. We're like, oh, this is just temporary. Oh, this is just temporary, because it was just so unbelievable that prices would go down, and then all of a sudden it was just like sliding down. And then when it really hit rock bottom, I mean, even my own place with my, you know, then when Howard, we were only dating, and he bought a place, and his place was $330. Like we bought it for $330 in Pilsen, 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a rooftop deck, easily be
What
500 now.
Ish.
2005. Okay. And then the market crashed in 2006, and I would say his worth was like $230, like at that time.
Crazy.
And I still wasn't really stressed out then. I would say, you know what? Everyone needs a place to live. Everyone needs a place to live. We're not selling tomorrow. We just have to see what happens, okay? And then, you know, thankfully, it's all supply and demand. When prices are not good, people aren't going to build. So that's what happened in 2007. All the supply stopped, and new developers were not building anymore. They stopped building, and that's when prices started to slowly increase again. And then 2012 it stabilized, and you know, from 2012 on, it just continued to increase. So and so we should, in theory, should be building more than we're doing right now. But because of the current situation, lack of labor, lack of supplies, we cannot build. So that's why I don't think it's going to be the same. Like, we don't have a real estate boom or like a bubble, because a bubble is when you have too much inventory, and we don't. So, yeah. I used to be an actuary. That's all about forecasting.
I saw that as well, too.
So I'm like a huge real estate nerd.
Love it.
So, for those of the listeners out there that don't know what an actuarial is, my kind of like core notion of what an actuary is the law of large numbers, and like crunching numbers and taking the large numbers but breaking it down onto a more micro scale as to how it works out for companies and risk.
It's risk. So people hire actuaries to, you know how like we all have insurance rates? Yeah. Like you have a home insurance, you have a car insurance, you have health insurance rates, right? Someone has to figure out how much that costs. And to figure that out, you have to understand what the risk is involved. Like when when a 40-year-old will pass away or when a 30-year-old will pass away. That's why your rate is going to be different than mine. It's all risk. So, I just had to forecast. I had to learn how to forecast. I had to learn how to assess risk, things like that. So I just took my experience of that and my, because trust me, I was a horrible actuary. I was like really bad.
The work wasn't exciting to you or something? You didn't like
It was very exciting, but you have to be pretty smart. I mean, I was just like average at best. No, average at best.
Yeah.
I mean, actuaries are brilliant. So I was just like an average at best actuary, and I took that information and then brought it to real estate. So I just have a different perspective when it comes to real estate.
How did you get your start in real estate? Was it?
Well, my family, like my dad owned a ton of apartment buildings, and then my brother is a realtor. He's on my team, but like on our team together. But he owned a brokerage before. I was managing a broker at that brokerage, and then decided to join a brokerage because we didn't like owning our own place. So, but yeah, that's just how I got started. So, yeah, I mean, I think if I chose anything, I think I would have still had this kind of thinking bigger picture or the macroeconomics of stuff. It just happened to be real estate.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you had asked earlier about like how bad was it? Well, it was bad in many different ways. So, I was a political science student at University of Illinois Chicago when that was all going on. But I was into economics. I was in the economics club. I was thinking about minoring in there. I never did a minor in economics, but I stayed up on it, like the events that were going on, and we were very close to a global financial collapse that could have led to World War III. If you, that's because what starts happening when you have that kind of collapse. I mean, it's this weird time where there's going to be a struggle for resources and for power in the international community, and so it was really weird. And we had some of the world's biggest financial institutions that were about to collapse, but then they also had like insurance bets against their own products and shit, and they were making money off of that, and then they had the bailouts. And what you were saying is that a lot of builders got out of the business just because there really wasn't money there. There was this huge inventory of foreclosures because they were doing like no income, no job loans, and everybody was getting approved. So you had these people that, when they were doing the adjustable rates, would eventually not be able to afford their mortgage anymore.
Or taking 105, 110% LTV loans, which doesn't exist either. So that's another reason why.
Get what it appraises at before you can take out over, because the thought was these homes are going to keep on appreciating value. So we'll give you 110% or 120% equity or whatever, or a 20% loan to value. But what we end up seeing was this glut of foreclosures, and these take a year or two. I mean, a year or two. 2 years would have probably been a quick foreclosure back then, and they would drag out sometimes for years at a time. So they came this huge wave just coming in that all had to be dealt with and worked their way through the court system. And then on top of that, you had a lot of short sales. So if you were lucky, you could help these clients. But doing short sales for anybody who has never done them, usually it requires a lot of document gathering on the realtor's part, or a company that's paid to do it on behalf of the attorneys or somebody. Because you need to see tax returns, you need to see bank statements.
This is probably why I don't think TC work is that bad, because I lived through this time where we needed 3 to 5 times more paperwork than we do now.
Well, because if the bank's going to take a loss, they need to see that you have some kind of problem. Loss of job, reduction of hours, death in the family, divorce.
There's a lot of strategic short sales too.
Just so that the bank will agree to take the loss.
Yes.
And then if you had some income or assets on the side, they would ask you in addition. So, all right, fine, we'll take the loss now, but you're going to sign an additional promissory note that you have to pay us in installments for the gap of what we lost.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
So all this was going on, and it took a lot of effort to get these short sales done. And the problem is, a lot of times, if the buyer was waiting, now you can get it if you have all the documentation you need and everything's in place, and it's just like one loan instead of 2 loans plus judgments or liens or something. You can get a short sale done in a few months, but during that wait, there was so much
2
going on.
years,
Yeah,
too,
it could be, a quick one would be like 6 months, 9 months or something, and then it'd be a year or two. You'd get a great deal on the property, but it took so much work, and then the buyers would get impatient, so you'd lose the buyer. Luckily, the short sale banks will consider the initial offer you had. They don't know if it's terminated or not, or if the buyer backed out. But what you can find then is the information of how much are they willing to accept.
You remember all this. How when you have a trauma that happened in your life and then you forget it?
I still do them, but
Oh.
there's not as many of them. Because
Yeah.
like, you were at a time where probably you might have all you had was short sales.
Oh, all I had was short sales. All I had, there was 1 year that I every deal was a short sale that I had done.
It's pretty wild. And then it got to the point. So
I've only ever done one.
Oh yeah,
And
be happy.
I stumbled through it. I was like, oh,
Hopefully, you never have to
on
do.
the buy
Hopefully,
side
none
or
of
the
us
sell
have
side?
to.
On
You'll,
buy side.
yeah.
buy side's easier. It's just
Yeah.
more of a waiting game. The
Yeah.
sell side, you have to help them gather so much documentation and hope that it gets approved. And then you got to hope that if there's any big bills out there, they owe like a water bill in Chicago, that you ask the bank to pay for that as part of the short sale, like because they're taking
The property
loss.
taxes.
Or whatever,
Yeah.
or condominium association dues or
Oh, yeah,
whatever. You have
that-
to ask them to pay some of the back ones so the buyer doesn't get stuck with too much of it. But the point is just that wave kind of cleared up. It felt like to me 2012, 2013,
2012.
2014, and then it got back to business as usual. But what we saw was the amount of rehabbers that were snatching up these foreclosures and short sales and just flipping. They've basically rebuilt the city of Chicago, and there's not many places left to go, I feel, where you can get deals like that
Oh
and rehab a
no.
house.
Well, then plus like prices increase, so there would be no. I mean, nobody wants to do a short sale. You know that they don't want to lose what they've already put into it as a down payment or paid off. So, you know, like everybody has equity now. I mean, I'm sure that there are empty nesters who would like to get out of their house, but there's nothing for them to get into. And
That's
then I'm
a problem we see right now.
yeah, right. That's what we're going through now.
There's inventory out there, but they can't find a place in the burbs where they're
Exactly.
looking, or vice versa, if they're trying to get back to the city to even get out
So
of the house.
yeah,
It's
we're at a
so wild.
standstill. That's what we're in real estate. So
The interesting part of the crystal ball would be to see how that ends up playing out, because to your point, without the building, like Chicago's been built, right? You're looking at the surrounding suburbs plus the west suburbs, like southwest, northwest. There's places out there where they can start building new developments. And then do the people work out there, or are they driving all the way in here to work to make their money in the city? How's that all work? But we haven't seen enough of that. We've been so underbuilt for a long time that there's just not a lot of places to sell. And that's why, like, when I was looking for homes, there was like 6 homes listed in my area that I was looking for, you know, around here where I'm trying to stay, where my heart is, where I grew up, all that. And so close to the office, like this is kind of my anchor now, so I don't want to stray too far away. Like, I wouldn't want to live like 2 suburbs over and then come back here. Because to your earlier point, like the in-person part of like what we do is like, it's actually for our mental health as well. Like we need that interaction. We need to be around people, and I find that we're so much more efficient as a team when we're right here together. So that's a toll that we've seen, you know, play out, that will continue to play out over the next few years. And like, I think we really as a people need to learn, like, what lessons do we take away from this? What sacrifices will we have to make, or will we be willing to make when this type of thing happens again? Because, you know, it started off with like the 2 weeks to flatten the curve thing, but we have consequences from this that we're gonna have to deal with for years to come. Like,
Yeah.
like you said, the inability, and then the influx of realtors in the market, I think, is kind of connected with that too. Number one, there was so much demand, and the interest rates were so low that it was easy to sell homes, right?
Yeah.
So like, you know, you had a listing, you're Mr. or Mrs. Popularity, boom, and then, you know, everybody had buyers and they were ready to go. But then when then also these people were like, a lot of the realtors are getting in the business now, we're probably like, man, you know, I'm sick of the 9 to 5 or that, you know, working for somebody else. Like I see these people doing so well that I just want to give it a try too. And it's like, that may not be the best thing to do. Like, and certainly another thing is, if you're going to get into real estate full time, one of the realtors who I talked to is like, you should have a 6-month income reserve
easy, yeah.
to like really make it. Because some people want to go in full time. It's like, you're in a tough situation right now. You're going to be in multiple offers every time, and if you don't know how to negotiate that, you're going to lose, and it's disappointing, and your clients have to be like willing to stay with you or whatever have you, as well.
I mean, it's
a tough time.
disheartening too. I mean, and don't get disheartened by losing an offer, because, you know, we always I always tell the clients, you put your best foot forward, and it just wasn't meant to be. But I'm sure as a newer agent, to put like 7 offers in and your buyer still doesn't win, I mean, that's probably very emotionally tolling on them. It must be. I feel bad.
I think too. So you're talking about.
I hit a lot of things there, but there was a lot of things I kind of wanted to tie back in.
For sure.
So it's a whole web that we've talked about.
The what you said about, you know, having like that 6-month kind of cushion saved
Safety
up.
reserve,
So
yeah, rainy
like
day.
how I got into real estate, Eli Massoud, who's also at Compass.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Eli. So like he started the team Second City Agents.
You got it
You got
tatted on your arm.
tattooed?
So
Damn, bro. You're 100% invested.
so he's
man.
my guy, man. We worked.
So you
together.
were on his team before? Or? Oh,
Yep,
okay.
yep. So pre real estate, we both worked for a company called James Hardy. So think of Hardy board, fiber cement siding.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got some in the front of the building actually. Some
I saw that.
Yeah,
Yep,
I never
yep.
even know what it was until
Yep.
they're like, use this stuff.
Exactly. So
Looks great.
So he was on like the management team, crushing it, and he started an inside sales team at Hardy, and so I was one of his first guys on the inside sales team, and he's like, "Yo, dude, I'm doing real estate on the side. Like, I need help. You should get your license." And I'm like, I'm good. I'm making like a nice 35-40K a year, thinking I'm high rolling,
Okay.
And then like he literally.
It's a nice, a steady income to have that check coming. You feel good. You're like,
This is
okay,
like my first
all
job.
right.
This
Yeah, it's
is
your
my
first
first job out of
job.
college. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then he literally like kind of Wolf of Wall Street at me and like started showing me commission statements. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh shit, this dude's like. He's like making like some legit money.
Bank,
he
yeah.
made my salary on a couple commission checks.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, all right, I'll get my license. Like this makes sense. So I got my license, joined his team. We were at Dreamtown, and so we were doing full time sales and full time real estate at the same time. And like I think that there's something to be said about that too, because I think that there's a perception that you can't do both. Or that like you can't be a successful realtor if you're part-time. And like if you are lazy, of course you're not going to be successful anyway. But I think that if you don't have the savings, like I don't think there's any wrong in doing another job. But for
the security.
yeah. until your real
I
estate
would
reaches
for a
the-
while.
Yeah.
I'd have a part-time job till about noon or one. and
Oh,
then
I
be
was
out
such an
doing all that.
idiot.
Yeah.
So I had a job. So I was looking for a job. I was interviewing, and that's when my brother was like, "Go get your license." And so I did get my license, but I had a job at what's that? One of those big consulting, Deloitte and Touche. So I just got an
Deloitte,
offer at Deloitte and Touche to be a data mining analyst. So I don't know. That sounds kind of important. So
It does sound important.
and I'm like, and so I turned it down.
They're gonna give you data and you're gonna analyze it. Damn, they must be confident in you.
Well, I turned it down, and then now as I think about it, now that I have children, I was like, I don't know why I did that, at the time.
Yeah.
Like, why, like, would I tell my kids to do that? I hope I tell my kids to do that, so they could just go and do what they want to do,
Right.
and just go for what they love,
Yep.
and not pick the maybe comfortable or whatever, or, but why didn't I do it part-time? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just didn't take it at all.
Right.
So that's interesting. Like
Yeah.
It's a tough challenge because, like, usually to be successful, you have to dive right into things. But financially, that should be scary.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like if you still have that steady paycheck, you have that mental confidence of knowing, like, I'm always gonna be all right. But
Yep.
also, there's some extra gravy on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so there was a breaking point. So like people don't know this, but I was full time up until last year.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like,
that's a lot
You know,
of work.
did like close to 10 million with a full time salary job, and like I literally like was having conversations with people who I look to for guidance on like important decisions, and I very much got like super complacent and just like. Because I'm like, ooh, I'm crushing it, and I'm also like salaried, and I'm like, I'm fucking Superman. But then it's like, well, at this point, you have enough saved up to go full time. Like, what are you actually doing? And so, my point is like, you hit that breaking point of like, okay, bro, like, are you gonna go full time? Or are you gonna like keep doing both? Like, what makes the most sense? But starting out though, like the reason like they both work was because we put like a plan together to say, hey, like we're gonna be full time by this date. So it wasn't just like a little, just roller coaster ride or like a merry-go-round is what I meant to say.
Well, it's cool. Like now, realtors, we have some guidance and a business plan, and there's books that you can read actually that can tell you how to be a successful realtor. When I first started, there were no books. There was no. I think $1 Million Agent from Gary Keller had maybe just come out, and we're like mind blown. But before that, it just we didn't. There was no. There was no resource. So, I mean, I remember still seeing faxes come through for listings.
Well, what's the facts?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kidding.
And then
I got fax, but it comes through the email.
and then at my brother's old brokerage, there was still books, like you know, like if you had a table here
For listings?
of listings.
Crazy.
That's how MLS was, you know. So it was just, but faxes would
And
totally
this was
come
in
in.
the 2000s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crazy.
yeah.
My little brother would literally, so my little brother's 20.
Uh-huh.
He'd literally be like, what's a fax machine?
Oh
He
yeah.
has no idea what we would be talking about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really use them if it wasn't for short sales. You have to use them. A lot
Yeah,
of times
short
the
sales,
bank-
you had
the
to
bank wants
fax.
faxes for a lot of the stuff you have to send in. But if it wasn't for that, I mean, that's where I really use it the most. Or if my mom needs me like send something to her
But it was
doctor's
always
office or some
faxing.
shit, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it was always
I just scan it in
faxing.
and then send it through email. I got like myfax.com or whatever.
And we never had a GPS, so I had to really know Chicago. I like studied the Chicago map. I actually didn't get my I had my driver's license when I was 16, but I actually didn't really drive until I was 21, 22. So when I actually started this job, so I like to drive around Chicago, learn how to parallel park, things like
You
that.
probably got really good at that. And
Yeah.
you're an OG too, because like my dad was an electrician, and when he worked for contractors, he would have to drive all over the place: north suburbs, south suburbs, east side, west side. He worked at Ford City Mall right over here in the area, and like he would tell me when I was younger, like he was like the MapQuest before I had it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, you're going over there. All right, well you take 294 south over here, get off there, blah blah blah. That's a G, because
Yeah.
like I start thinking about all the stuff you couldn't do without GPS.
Oh,
or, like,
totally.
How lost you would get. You have to stop in.
Oh, I'm totally going to teach my kids how to like
how do you
get
get over here?
navigate. Yeah, because what happens when your phone dies?
Or
or
read
something?
a regular map.
Yeah.
If you have a map in the car, like I never really learned the maps, but we go to Wisconsin. We have a summer home there that my mom left, or my dad left to my mom when he passed, and eventually it'll be my brothers and I. And it's like, shit, without GPS or whatever. Like, I mean, it's only really a few roads. Once you do it a few times, you kind of get the hang of it. But we don't have the time to go up there a lot, so we'll go like 2, 3, 4 times a year if we're lucky, because it's a long drive to where we have to go. But it's like, man, without maps or without like a Google Maps or whatever, it would be hard to do that shit. You get so lost in there, you have no idea where you're at.
Yeah.
Do you know you're born like most of your life was in Chicago? You know where you're going if you didn't have your GPS. Do you?
If my phone died, I literally wouldn't know where the hell I'm going.
Oh really?
Like I could get there, but it wouldn't be like ooh, I'm gonna go here, make a left and a right.
So
and
do you
I'll
know
go
the coordinate system in Chicago?
up.
Like 3200s Belmont,
No,
2400s
no.
Fullerton? No.
I'd
Madison
literally
is 0.
Yeah.
South, north.
I would get there, but it'd be like, ooh, oh, Western. Okay, cool. I know if I go to Western, and I can keep
Yeah,
going.
that
and
goes
like,
all the way
you know,
Yeah.
like there's like main streets that I know, but like
Interesting.
I rely on my phone so much, I'd be lost.
Oh.
I'd call you. I couldn't call you. Like I'd literally be like, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna be late for this thing. So,
Yeah.
Those were the pioneer
funny.
days before GPS.
but like that's why I keep my phone nice and juiced up. I
Yeah.
got multiple chargers.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Well, we're used to it now,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, but I'd be lost to answer your question.
Okay.
Well, before you get going, I know you said that you have to be going in a little bit. With becoming the YPN chair, do you have to kind of like, I don't know, I guess in political terms, get in line and kind of work your way up to that? How do you get to that? How do you get involved?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say like get in line, but like you have to put in time. So I think that I was on the board for 2 years, and then you're supposed to be vice chair, and then vice chairs automatically go up to chair. And so the person that was going to be chair stepped down, so I got bumped up a year early actually. So
Interesting.
this would have been like my vice chair year technically. So
Well, you're doing a great job.
well, thank you. I really, really do try hard. Like Corey, who like is the glue person for the YPN board, and like she does so much.
She does a lot. Are you talking about Corey Hall?
Yes,
Who
yes.
is like the photographer at the YPN breakfast and all
She's
that?
everything. Like she's everything. But like I'm the person that just needs constant reassurance that I'm doing a good job, because I'm like, Corey, like how did that go? Like how did the board meeting go? Did I like engage with enough people? Like, were we on topic? Like did we do this? And so like for me, it's very much like I give a shit. So I'm trying really, really hard to make sure that it's, you know, a good year, but also trying to make sure that everybody on the board gets like some recognition and love, and like they learn and get value out of it too. So
Did you have everybody kind of get recognized before? Because this last meeting we just had, this last Wednesday,
Yep.
Rebecca Thompson was
Yes.
the moderator that
Yes.
day, just a kind of guest moderator
Yep.
or whatever. But didn't before that you kind of asked everybody to stand up and be acknowledged?
at the end, yep. And it was awesome because, you know, this is we stumbled on that. So I was supposed to do it at the beginning, but of course I forgot. And then I'm like, oh shit, I got to do it at the end. So I did it at the end, and then it worked out well because then everyone knew who the board was. And it's like they got to interact with them.
And talk to them afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, because
So-
they don't realize like they see the final product. They don't know the hustle that went into that to
Oh,
deliver
yes.
a good product with just the breakfast alone, but also all the mixers and different things that you guys do.
Yes.
A lot of work goes into that. I mean, that's how I met you guys. And when I saw you that first time, so I guess the first time I saw you in person was the first time I saw you in person as well, because you were on the panel and you were moderating it. And I was like, who is this? Because I had been to the YPN breakfast for a few years. My good friend Carmen Carbonera introduced me to the YPN when I first started my own office. And it was this dude, Mo Dodka, he was an attorney and a realtor. So he was kind of like both parts of the game. He was doing the moderating for the longest time. Like, I think up until like last year or maybe the year before that, he was doing it. But then you stepped in and I was like, man, this dude seems really cool. He was calm. He had his questions ready. He seemed to interact with everybody well. I was like, what a cool dude, man. I was like, let me get to know him and just see if we'll do something like this in the future.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, I
Thank you
appreciate
for. I'm sure speaking on your behalf, I'm sorry, but thank you for
Yes.
having us. I
Agreed.
mean, it's been a lot of fun.
Agreed.
I love doing these. It's a passion of mine. I hope that people enjoy this, and I feel like you have to do in life, like the consistency is key with a lot of things, and it's not really a thing unless you do it pretty regularly. So this year I've been pretty good about it, doing like one a week roughly, which is tough to like schedule with people. That's why I had, unfortunately, you get to meet Tilsa this week. So Tilsa, I hope you get well soon. She's a wedding officiant. I think she had some food at a wedding that just didn't sit with her too well. But I was hoping to get to meet her because at least like if a guest cancels then or something, I always have somebody that I can at least just talk about what's going on with me this week, what I did well, what I didn't, or whatever, current events, whatever the case may be, just topics. But
Well, hopefully your guest thought our information was insightful. I thought it was, great information in terms of like the market and stuff like that.
there's a lot of it in there. If people listen to this, like there's a lot of things to absorb and food for thought to kind of like, the thing is like, learning is a process that starts, but then you have to go put in the hard work to really internalize it and like implement it into your life. So a lot of great stuff here because like I had all these bullet points written up and I didn't really get to them. So I'm like, Amy, family, and
we talked about it a little bit.
Well, we did. We kind of like just touched on
Yeah.
Compass, the group.
U of I, actuaries. You got it all. You got it all.
And then with Devon, it was like jobs fill your pockets, adventures fill your soul. So that was
Ooh, that's one of my favorite quotes.
yeah. So I mean, like we'll do another one another time because I want to like hear more about your vacations and stuff that you probably like to take. Don't be afraid. Just try. Pets, same. Developers, barely scratching the surface. That when you did the panel with the developers panel recently, the realtors who work with the developers panel, I'm like, Rebecca was super polished. I wrote a little
my
note about
Lord.
that. I was
Oh,
gonna talk
Rebecca's
about that.
amazing.
Oh my God! I was
Amazing.
like, how are you this good?
Oh, she's just
Like,
phenomenal.
yeah.
It was like a TV show.
I have a
like,
fangirl crush on her.
Yes, me
I
too.
love
I
her.
kind of do too.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone does. Everyone does.
She met me, and when I first started in the business, I did this thing called Breaking Bread with Brian. I actually had the current YPN or the current Chicago Association of Realtor president on there, Ansha Girkin. So shout out to Ansha. And when she met me, she's like, I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity, and I was like, I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity when I meet you. Like she did this thing where it's like it was almost like a TV star. Like she was like this like late night host or something like that. That was just kind of the same vibe I got from you. But she was like, explain this context and then go and like now put your answer in. And she said this like you have this mental framework that you're going through the whole time to deliver something that well. Like kudos. These are the
It's
people I
amazing.
want to surround myself with.
Yeah, that's one of her superpowers, I would say.
She went to University of Chicago, which
Did
is
she?
like big brain, like Harvard of the Midwest.
Yeah.
Too, you know?
Yeah. Well, cool, man. This was awesome. Before we go, I do want to say a quick thank you to the great Amy.
Oh,
The industry standard, like, so when I saw you send the invite for this podcast, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna be doing a podcast with Amy. Like, that's amazing because you're
well, thank you.
you're awesome, and I appreciate all you do in terms of just showing up, like, which is half the battle, and being being sharing with your information because you have a lot to share. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I love this industry. I love this career. So, and if I didn't have people to look up to when I started, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So I hope people can take advice and implement it in their lives.
Yeah, for sure.
One, thank you both of you guys too, because like I say, like we all have families, we have personal lives, and the work on top of it. none of this stopped. The clock is always ticking no matter what you're doing, and this is not something paid. This is just a passion project where we get together and we get to know each other.
And then like
better.
5 years from now, well, next year, you're just gonna like surpass my sales. So
No way.
yeah.
give me some time.
I like to fight until I'm in the presence of greatness as well. You know what I mean? So it's that battle of like earning it and all that good stuff, and hopefully good things in the future for all of us. Like
Absolutely.
I say, who knows? My dad and my mom were always worriers, and so they would worry about like the doomsday scenario. I just hope it doesn't hit that, because I take my job very seriously, and I have staff to support here as well that depend on this job as a livelihood, and depend on me as a leader, and my family, my wife, the whole deal. You know, we're trying to start a family ourselves, so hopefully it all stays going well, and you know, I look
It
forward to
will,
having
because
guys
you will
both
make
back
it
sometime.
to be that. So
For sure, hard work will pay off for all of us.
Love it.
If you want to check out more with Devon Chandler, you also have the Color of Chicago podcast, which you just kind of started out. It looks like you're on your first few episodes.
Yes.
Do you do that remotely? Is it in person?
Yeah, so it's been virtual. It's been virtual, just easier and just, you know, more time efficient. I would love to get them in person at some point, but right now they're just virtual. So, but yeah,
I love this.
Yeah, it's been great.
This is my little man cave / office area. I got the whole setup. Everything I need is at my fingertips. So cool to be here in person. But Color of Chicago, so you're doing it virtually. Is that through Zoom or how?
Yeah, so I use a thing called what the hell is it? Zencaster.
Zencaster?
Yeah, so just a virtual podcast platform. So
God, there's so much of that stuff out there, and
Yeah.
it's cool that you stumbled upon that one.
yeah, it's been good.
Well,
Yeah.
if there's ever anything like, if you try to do it in person, or you need to know like an equipment list or the software I use, the video recording software is just what they call OBS. It's open broadcasting software, so you can download it. I like to donate maybe like $75 or $80 a year to them because they're a nonprofit, and I feel like that's almost like the subscription. That's my way of paying them back. So we'll check out your podcast. Anybody or anything that you want people to know about your social media for Instagram, where can they find you, under what name
Yeah,
and all
for
that?
sure. I appreciate that. Just Devon Chandler _ is my Instagram handle, and then the team Instagram is just Hello Chicago Homes. So yeah, I
Hello,
appreciate
Chicago
it.
Homes, nice and easy, very welcoming. And how about you, Liam?
yeah, if you want to see my adorable children, it's Amy Duong Kim. So I'll post very few posts about work there, but mostly it's my family.
On your Facebook?
Instagram, Amy Duong Kim, or just Amy Duong Kim, for Facebook too, and then Duong Kim Global for my Instagram, and that will have all our new listings coming up, things about work and whatnot, pictures of showings and stuff like that. So we try to have usually at least one listing per week, if not 2 to 3 listings a week. So,
Big dogs.
So if you want to see the new inventory, so we won't have anything this following week because we'll be in LA, but probably 2 to 3 every week after that.
Awesome.
So
Beautiful.
cool.
One thing I say at the end of every podcast, and I used to joke around a lot, and like during COVID, be like, well, it's still COVID. COVID is contagious, motherfuckers, but so is kindness.
Oh,
And so what I always say is that I've been able to get along with many different people from many cultures in my lifetime just by starting from a position of kindness and respect. And so it's free to do. It'll take you to new levels with your life, just your interaction with people every day, regardless of who they are. And so, good people make other people good. And so be good to yourself, be good to your family, be good to your community, and tune in next time to the Blessed Life University podcast, the Blue Podcast for short. Peace out, everybody. We love you. Peace, peace.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
bye.